Hey, what's up guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Maine Mariners A Road to Glory series, the main event here on FHM5. In this episode, we set up the team for our third season. I can only hope it's not going to take as long as the prior offseason took, which was for goddamn ever. I don't know why. I hope that's not the case this time out. I will say, though, we're going to be taking a different strategy in this episode, different approach. Before that, though, the Hall of Fame nominees are out. Of course, already nominated guys like Iginla, Dom Foose, Brindamore, Marian Hossa, and numerous others. We are allowed to nominate one of these 10 players. And if I start on the left, ooh, that's, oh wow, this is actually kind of a tough choice. Okay, I'm going to again probably pick my favorite player as opposed to who deserves it. I'm going to go with Mogilny. Why not? Let's throw Alex Mogilny into the mix. So what we're going to be doing in this episode, and that different approach that I mentioned, it's fairly straightforward. And actually here, let me make sure that we are good to go in terms of options and everything. Okay, cool, we are. So let's just go to autoplay to free agency. The different approach I want to take this time out is by, rather than going for an overall, team depth like we did this past season. I mean, if you look at this roster, right? I mean, there's some pretty good team depth there. Rather than building a team that's, decent all around, I'm only going to spend the money that we have. Say we have 350 grand. I want to bring in like 3 100K players. I want to bring in ECHL superstars who should be able to just run the league in their sleep. I'm thinking that's going to be a better approach because you look at this past season, I think the goaltending is a perfect example. We spent money on Jamie Phillips. Jamie Phillips wasn't even on the roster for the playoffs because Chris Nell was sent down and we had no choice but to play him. So I can't help but think that I let the goaltending be decided by the AHL club above me, and then we just sign whoever the hell we have to. And really, the Rangers have been sending down defensemen. I'm thinking that we should just go all out for forwards, as the Florida Everblades are going to have a chance to retain the Kelly Cup. I can't help but think that we should just go all out for a couple of elite players that can help carry this team, and then we pretty much solely rely on the AI to help fill out this roster and make it well-rounded. That's pretty much what they've been doing anyway, to the point of, again, us kind of wasting some of the money that we have to have that well-rounded squad depth. I think it'll be better to approach it from that way, as we have a bunch of other random news, but nothing too crazy. I'm mainly just intrigued to see who ends up winning the Kelly Cup here. But I'm thinking that's going to be the best way to handle it, and I hope to be proven correct. Now, if this strategy doesn't work, and again, for whatever reason, this takes 6.5 years for me to load through an off-season, I'm not sure what the long-term future of this series is. And in fairness, with the interest in the whole custom historical challenges that I've been doing, and check out those first 2 videos in that series if you haven't already, that could easily end up replacing this. I still want to win, don't get me wrong. Absolutely would still like to win. But the ECHL, man, as the Indy Fuel came back to tie it up, the ECHL is always just going to be, I feel, more so than any other league, a complete toss-up. We've talked about that as the Indy Fuel end up winning in Game 7. We have new Kelly Cup champions. The ECHL is always going to be a bit of a toss-up, right? Our success is going to be dependent, in this case, on Hartford and with the Rangers. But I'm thinking this tactic, this is kind of my last idea, my last effort to move forward, and that we hopefully get some, maybe even 4-star players for the league, which would basically be like, I imagine like a Corey Conacher type. It would be nice. Now, the salary cap has been expanded, but that's only for the off-season, unfortunately. I think we're basically going to let everybody on the roster go. I don't really have a plan to hold on to anybody. We'll let everyone go. If we end up bringing somebody back, that's fine by me. But like I said, I want to aim for a couple of elite players rather than, having a well-rounded roster. We're allowed to pick 4 people. Iginla. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I don't want to ignore the European representatives there whatsoever. Man, Doug Mons has been on that list for a while, too. I'm going to throw Iginla, Gary Suter. That's a really tough option. Daniel Alfredson. And Rod Brindamore, Marian Hossa, Theo Fleury, Matthew Schneider, Kachuk. Brindamore. I nominated Mogilny, and hopefully he ends up making it, but let's go for Brindamore. As there you go, the Indy Fuel now champions. We get a scouting report, nothing to really worry about. Overall, though, too, if you look back at this past season, it was an up and down year. We started off very strong and barely snuck our way into the playoffs, thanks to, we can label that as us slipping up a little bit. We will negotiate an offer. I will sign on for 3 more seasons just to make sure that we're good to go. I suppose that was a factor, as they could have been like, yeah, we don't want you, you're gone. Well, I think I turned firing off, so I'm pretty sure they would have sent me an offer no matter what. But I'm very intrigued to see who is going to end up being available for us on this free agent list. I had a little bit of trouble negotiating with some of those players, some of those high-up players last year. I think the main thing with that is William Whitley. You were a scout, weren't you? You're not that good, though. And to be honest, we don't really even need scouts. What about Stu Lowe? He was our trainer. He's not that great. I'm gonna reject both of you. Hall of Fame runoff between Brindamore and Hossa. Well, I'm gonna go for Rod Brindamore then. We'll see what happens there. I'm intrigued to see who the other 3 end up being. I just can't help but think this is going to be the best way to go for this season. I had trouble signing some of those guys. You have a lot of players. Oh my god, I guess I have to select Hossa. You had a lot of those guys who just simply didn't want to sign with us last year. Of course, a lot of players aren't looking to go to the ECHL. The big issue with the offseason, of course, is that I can sign a player to a contract, but if he gets an offer from an AHL club or an NHL club, he can leave. So I could get, let's continue to use Corey Conacher as an example. I could sign Corey Conacher. If he gets an offer from the Syracuse Crunch or the Tampa Bay Lightning, he's gone. It's a real big issue that we have. It's almost worth waiting until the majority of players have already signed. It's almost worth waiting like 2 months into free agency to end up bringing anybody in. And to be honest, that might not be the worst idea. Of course, the problem would then be, are some of the top players out of the running, essentially. So I think I'm going to take that risk. And I will talk to you guys probably September 1st? I don't know. It's a tough call. As holy call-ups and send-downs. I really don't think I need to assign numbers, but that's fine. I think I might talk to you guys on August 1st. We're going to let the first month of free agency go through, and we'll take it from there and see what kind of high-level talents we can bring in. Rather than sim to August 1st, we have simmed to September 1st of 2020, and it's time to get this roster set up because the preseason starts at the end of the month. This is what the squad looks like right now. No guarantees it stays that way, but this is how many players have been sent down to us. Chris Nell is still here. We have Pedri, Gilmore, Sean Day. Kyle Maximovich is here at 2.5 stars. Stephen Fogarty is back. So case in point, I think we could afford to, I mean, we're going to have to bring in some forward depth, of course, but I think we can afford to go after whatever big names are here and probably avoid a goaltender, although how good is this dude? Oof, not. But he's fresh out of the draft and is tremendous, apparently. So he's got that going for him. I still think, I mean, as we have $150K in salary cap space, because, oh my god, again, we're getting absolutely screwed here. We only have $150K in salary cap space because of the players that have been sent down. Technically, I have $400K available for players. So that's where it's tough. I have $436,000 for players. So we're still going to see who we can find, but it's going to be tough to ice a strong team for the most part. So as far as the age is concerned, of course, we're going to cut that down to 25. I'm going to try to not sign anybody above 25 years old, of course, for that rule. So players that are still available, Cal Peterson right now is the top goaltender that I could hope to sign. Of course, if I do sign him, but the Rangers and Wolfpack leave 2 players on my team, there's nothing I can do. So there's really not much of a point in terms of signing a top-notch goaltender. There really isn't. Amongst defensemen, though, what are we looking at in terms of high-end at this point? 3-star. Okay. So again, I might have missed out on some better players for simming an extra month ahead, but again, those same players could have easily left the club had I signed them and they gotten a better offer. So, as far as who we have here, is that Matt Spencer? That is rebuilding Hockeytown legend Matt Spencer. Check out that NHL 17 series if you haven't. It was one of my first big series on this channel. Looking for 160K. Whew. All right, what is Jake Middleton looking for? Because we have this group of 3-star defensemen, I might as well see who's looking for the cheapest. 170 for Middleton. What about Schnugerud? 187. Jesus. He was last season's most valuable player, though. So he might be worth it. He was a Calder Cup champion, or a Kelly Cup champion with the Indy Fuel. We also have Brandon Hickey, who's looking for over 200K. Jesus. Kyle Burrows? What's he looking for? 160. So he's best bang for the buck right now thus far. Friedman is 180. And Ryan Mantha is the last 3-star player. He's looking for 211. So Snuggerud might be the best option because of his success in the ECHL. Burrows is the best bang for your buck. Snuggerud last year had 55 points in 72 games. I mean, I think we have to go for the success, right? I think we try to bring in Luke Snuggerud and see what we can do. He's going to be expensive, but we want to win a Kelly Cup. Why not bring in a former champion, right? Now, I do need to remove all of these offers because otherwise I'm going to keep getting updates on the other players that we're not going for. So that would bring us down to just under 250. It's blanked out there, but technically we have 250K left for people. Let's see, in terms of forwards, the top-notch signable players, Adam Brooks is available. If I take that off, it doesn't change anything, right? Yeah, okay, so the list is still the list. So I might as well do that. So out of the 3-star players, we do have Adam Brooks, put up 40 points in 66 games in the AHL last year. Brett Seney, Dmytro Timashov. You have Graham Knott, David Pope, Jake Evans, I would imagine, Keegan Kolesar, Devin Sidorov, and actually Sidorov wouldn't be considered. Okay. So Kolesar is not the biggest point getter, but let me take a look here. He's looking for 160. Yikes. What's Evans looking for? 211. All right. Pope is looking for 211. What about Graham Knott? 160. Okay. And he won a Calder Cup in Season 1 with the Rockford Ice Hogs. Dmytro Timashov is also looking for 160. All right. Brett Seney is at 180. And Brooks is at 180. So, I mean, best bang for your buck right now is Timashov and Knott. Now, technically, we can only sign one of them. Knott had 21 points in 76 games last year. Timashov in the ECHL had 69 points in 72 games. So I'm probably going to go for Dmytro Timashov as our other big-name signing. And hopefully that works out. Basic English, but hopefully that'll be all right, and hopefully he won't feel isolated in the locker room. So, I mean, those are going to be the two big signings that I go for. We're still obviously going to have some money to help fill out this roster with like 2.5-star players. But those are the two main targets here, and technically in terms of cap space, we're already screwed. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team works. I mean, right now, I just need to find some forwards to still fill out the roster. So let's take a look. Again, anybody under 25 years old, I'll probably look to find the highest rated goalie that we can afford to get, who's not going to be all that expensive. 3-star Merrick Madsen, who's normally a Coyotes prospect. Yeah, he's going to be way too much. So we'll remove that offer. What about 2.5-star Hayden Hockey? He's looking for 16. That's not too bad, actually. And then Flynn is... Oh, yeah. So, see, Hayden Hockey's a steal at that price. We might as well bring him in just in case. Because otherwise, we're down to these 2-star guys. You have someone like Cowley here who's going to be looking for 10. Is it worth spending an extra $6K for Hayden Hockey if there's a chance he's not going to play? That's the debate. But I'm going to say probably yes, just because he, compared to what the other player is looking for in his skill level, Hayden Hockey is absolutely worth trying to bring in. So, just in case we lose a goaltender, let's sign up Hayden Hockey if we can. Amongst defensemen, I still want to bring in probably 2 players. So 3-star is obviously going to be out of the question. Not out of the equation. We'll go to... Oh, okay. Nope, can't type it in. We'll drop that down to a lovely 2.5. Let's see what these players are looking for. So someone like Mr. Sherman here, who's normally a Bruins prospect, he's looking for 180. So we'll remove that. What about Devontae Stevens, former Kelowna Rocket? He's also looking for a ton of money. So I'm thinking 2.5 is going to be out of the equation here as well. Jack Rathbone, who I think is normally a starting Canucks prospect. He's only looking for 17. That's not too bad. Let's take a look. Marino. Ooh, John Marino's looking for 10. All right, we're going to go for both of those guys, I think, since we know that they're already very inexpensive. Tyler Nani. Also looking for 10. Okay, so seemingly if they don't have AHL experience, we're good to go. Yeah, that's what it is. So if they don't have AHL experience, or even Ryan Pylon is not looking for that much. Pylon, not sure which. So we will have some decent players to sign here. It's just a matter of who we go for. So let me take a look. So we have, so Chaz Redekop's going to be worth too much. I wish you could see right here what they were looking for, but you can't, unfortunately, because that would be extremely helpful. So between Clifton, Redekop, Sherman was looking for a lot. What's Parker Wotherspoon looking for? 166. You know, I think at this point, it's a tough call. So Rathbone had 9 points in 13 games in the ECHL last year. Marino had 24 points at Harvard. I was going to say Hartford. It's Harvard. I'm so used to saying Hartford. Last year, 25 points in 33 games at the University of Minnesota. 22 points in 31 games at Nebraska. I'm mainly looking for point getters. 20 points for Pylon last year in the ECHL. 18 points for Tommy Vanelli. Lewington. We had Irving last year. He had 24 points. I'm not sure what he'd be looking for. I'm mainly looking to see. So there we go. Someone like Colton White. 35 points in 57 games last year. What's he looking for? Yeah, I figured. That's not going to work out for us. Let's see. Anybody else? Prapavisis. 40 points in 71 games last year. Yeah, not surprised he's looking to get paid at all. Jack Glover, 25 points in the AHL last year. Hobbs, 39 points for Wotherspoon, who was looking for way too much. So I think we'll go for the NCAA guys. I think we'll go for Marino, who had a good point total last year. He is not interested. What about this dude, former Golden Gopher? Damn it. Did it just say, though, that the University of... that Ohio State was his favorite team? That's really weird. Ryan Jones? Damn it. They're hoping to get AHL jobs. All right. That just complicated things. So Pylon, I know, could put up points last year. Oh, my God. Is it because I sent the offer and then retracted? Is that what it is? What about Tommy Vanelli? All right. Let's go for Vanelli before things fall apart. He is a right defenseman, so is there a lefty that would like to join the team for relatively cheap? And unfortunately, I think with people pulling out of the deal, that's not going to happen. Yeah, with certain players getting, or just not having interest, that just complicated things. So I'm not against signing another right defenseman, and hopefully they can just convert over to the left-hand side. Trevor Hamilton wasn't that great last year. Lewington. I'm not against bringing back Aaron Irving. He did pretty well for us last year. Not too bad. Let's do that. And then as far as depth forwards are concerned, technically we still have $50K left. So we have room to sign some forwards. I imagine any 3-star players are going to be far too expensive, and they are, of course. The same guys that we looked at. So we'll go down to 2.5. And let's see what we're dealing with here. There's actually quite a few. So we have the likes of Thomas Ebbing, who had 5 points in 7 games last year for, I believe, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Wants 10K. I'm not against that. He did well in a limited amount of appearances. He was a champion down in the FHL. So, you know, I'm willing to give him an opportunity. What about Penny? 49 points in 63 games. Glover had 55 points in 26 games down in the semi-pro league. What's he looking for? 10K? Let's do it. Let's sign him up. Anybody else here? So Penny had 49 points last year. I think I'm going to go for him as well, and then we'll have room to sign one other player, and we'll try to make the most of it. So Ryan Lowen, I guess it would be, had 29 points last year in 36 games in the NCAA. He's willing to sign. I'm going to do it. Why not? Instead of just messing around. I mean, as long as these guys can put up points, I'm good to go. The question is whether or not they accept, of course, and whether or not they accept a last-second contract offer. I have no idea how this team, like how the pieces are going to fit together in this puzzle, right? I have no idea, just because, again, we are very much at the mercy of the two teams above us, and at a moment's notice they could call up or send somebody down, and that throws our entire setup into disarray. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these initial few contract offers, and hopefully things go our way here. No real way of knowing for sure. I'll see you once it's done loading, because I'm not going to make you wait. Well, the good news is our first batch of offers have proven to be relatively successful, as Ryan Penny, Austin Glover, Aaron Irving, Hayden Hockey, Tommy Vanelli, and Ryan Lowen have joined this team, so we do have to assign some of these numbers, including Ryan Penny taking the number 99. No expectations at all, buddy, with you grabbing that number. Don't worry about it. Again, I'm a little bit concerned about Hayden Hockey joining the team, but for the price, it was pretty cheap. I know this roster, again, is still going to change quite drastically, depending on what goes down, but this is a look now at how this roster is shaping up. Of course, there is an extreme need for forwards, but I know we'll have forwards joining the team, and we still have some of those offers out as well, including to the likes of Dmytro Timashov, Thomas Ebbing, and really those are the only two. The rest were defensemen, although I don't believe we sent offers to the majority of them. So far, so good in terms of our free agent adventures, although I'm starting to worry that maybe this isn't the best way to go, just because of the lack of funds. It'll be interesting to see how it goes down. Timashov, Snugarud, and Ebbing have all signed, though. Those are pretty big deals for us. I know that now more than ever, we're at the mercy of those two clubs above us. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team looks like. But now forward-wise, we do have Maximovich and Fogarty, but again, the only 5 that belong to us are Lowen, Ebbing, Timashov, Glover, and Penny. Defensively, we have 3 guys that belong to us. That might be one too many with Tommy Vanelli, but I'm feeling relatively okay about it. We actually still have 80 grand available for free agents too. Are none of those offers open right now? Do we really have 80 grand available? Because that could certainly be where the extra forward help comes from. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think this roster's done changing just yet. Alright, so the good news is we do still have that $80K remaining. Of course, the team cap space right now is in a state of disarray, but we will be able to bring in that extra bit of forward depth that we need to. It will have to be cheaper players overall, and of course someone like Jack Skilly ended up being a free agent. It would have been nice to bring in like a he or an Adam McQuaid, that type of player, but that's not going to happen. So 2.5-star guys, we have an ungodly amount of them available, although we do need to cut down the age to 25. I'm never going to sign anybody over 25 again, just that we avoid that issue. So if I look here at names, Cedaroff, Jansen Harkins, Ross Colton, Amama, Hurley Lorenz, Hunter Smith, Jesse Gabrielle. I'm looking for names that's like, I kind of like that player. There are a couple of them. Is that Jaden Lindo? Are you Jaden Lindo? You are Jaden Lindo. I don't know why I knew who Jaden Lindo was, but that's a thing. Schmaltz, Kennedy, how many other 2.5s? Okay, that's where the 2.5s end. Right, let's go for Hunter. Hunter Smith would be more of an enforcer. I guess we'll look for point totals. 53 points, and Jesus Christ, there's no way Cedaroff's going to have a cheap deal. Yeah, I was going to say, he did that well in the AHL last year. There was no way. Jansen Harkins, how did you do last year? I didn't mean to click on your name. 18 points in 31 games. Ross Colton, not a great point getter. Amama was okay. Coughlin, Connor Hurley wasn't that great. Lorenz had 48 points in 72 games for the Everblades. What's he looking for? Nope. Hunter Smith, not a big point getter. Although in the ECHL he's okay, it's just the AHL not so much. He does take a lot of penalties though. He's more of a grinder. Pagansky had 49 points last year and wants to get paid a boatload. Jesse Gabrielle, 19 points in 71 games is okay. Shane Yzerman, I mean his name's Yzerman first and foremost. Yeah, let's sign an Yzerman. He killed the semi-pro league last year, so you never know. Giving him an opportunity on an ECHL roster could be nice. Nathan Noel had 6 points in 7 games at the AHL level last year, but wants to get paid a boatload, so that's not going to happen. Graham Black killed the semi-pro league last year and wants a relatively cheap deal, so that could work out well for us. Who else do we have? Jake Marchment. 6 points in 63 games. No thanks. Steve Spinner. I don't know what league that is, but 34 points in 52 games. I don't know what league that is, but he should want a cheap contract. All right, Steve, you're being a little bit ridiculous. I don't even know what league you played in last year, so sorry. Rankin. 46 points in 70 games last year in the ECHL. Only looking for 10K. That could be a decent little deal for us. Bo Starrett, 20 points last year in the SML. It's going to be a no from me. What about Steve? 21 points in 10 games. I can't say your name, but I'd love to sign pen to paper. Please sign with us if you would. We have 33K left. Mason Berge had 8 points in 12 games. Craig Chase, 51 points in 70 games last season. Looking for a cheap enough deal as well. And that will bring us to 23. We should have room for 2 more people. That Chad Butcher, it is 23 points in 12 games. There's also a point a game in the ECHL. Looking for a decent deal. We'll sign him up, and we have space to sign one more person. Lindo is not a big point getter. What about Schmaltz? Schmaltz was with us last year. He had 40 points in 60 games. 25 points. I think we'll try to bring back Matt Schmaltz. He's also well-rounded. He can play anywhere. So that would be perfect. So I'll talk to you guys, hopefully, when these guys sign, and we can start really carving out what this roster is going to look like to start our 3rd season. And that's something I was afraid of. Dmytro Timashov has signed a contract with the Winnipeg Jets and is no longer a Maine Mariner, and that hurts a lot. It does free up $134,000 to try and sign somebody, but I was hoping that we were beyond that point of teams kind of undercutting me. Apparently not. So let's take a look at who's available, shall we? And we'll see if we can find a decent replacement. And it comes down pretty much to the same players that we were debating earlier. Adam Brooks is not interested. Brett Seney is not interested. Graham Knott, not interested. Ha 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 ha. David Pope. Oh God, yep, that just screwed us so badly. Jake Evans. This sucks. And Keegan Kolsar. Nope. Okay. So to 2.5-star players we go, which really, really sucks to lose Dmytro Timashov like that. So we can go for Devin Sidorov now, who had a really good season in the AHL last year. He's a bit too expensive. I'm going to ask for his response on that. He wants 140. What if I make you a star player? Down to 135. Buddy, I can't do it. You got a no trade and no movement. Or a no movement. Please? Yes, there we go. So hopefully we can sign Sidorov, and that'll bring us to the point of bankruptcy, because we're not going to have any money left to do anything. I had a feeling that could still happen, but again, I was hoping we were at the point where most teams had already signed all their players, and I wasn't in danger of losing anybody. That was incorrect, unfortunately. As a result, Dmytro Timashov has left the club. I don't blame him for taking an offer with Winnipeg. Not at all. Not one bit. But it has absolutely screwed us over. So it's one of those deals where it's like, okay, what are you going to do? I suppose. It's part of life in the ECHL. It just is. So, all in all, let's hope that's the only player who ends up being affected by a team kind of undercutting us and stealing them away at the last minute. Fingers crossed that it is. That said, we should be due to see the updates as far as the other contracts are concerned. Again, fairly straightforward with the team approach at this point, just hoping that the guys that we've sent contracts to not only sign, but eventually stay. So good news, 2 contracts have been signed, Connor Rankin and Shane Yzerman. Welcome aboard. I refuse, even if his name was somehow like Yzerman. No, you are Yzerman now. And I hope you play like him. Devin Sidorov, we'll see. Time will tell as to whether or not he ends up signing. More contracts have been signed. Graham Black, Greg Chase, Steve Uri, the Grand Old Opry, and Matt Schmaltz. Welcome back for your second season here. So the overall team depth is starting to look a little bit better. We do still have to wait for that one big offer, after, of course, we ended up losing Dmytro Timashov. But if you look at the depth chart now, yes, it's a lot of centers, but it is looking much, much better. I don't know if I'm allowed to hit setup organization. I am. So this is what the squad is looking like at the moment. And if we get more of a visual, I mean, technically, again, we're having to rely on some of these players I don't necessarily want to rely on, but them's the breaks. Although, in doing that, some players have just disappeared. What? I guess technically that would have been the Wolfpack and Rangers taking players away, maybe? That's the only thing that makes sense, right? I guess. That's so weird. Moving on. So, more bad news, unfortunately. Devin Sidorov has rejected the offer. Graham Knott has signed with Nashville, although we never actually signed him. Chad Butcher, though, has signed, which is good. Again, we signed Graham Black. We did not send an offer to Graham Knott. But not being able to bring in Devin Sidorov kind of hurts. I thought we would have finagled that enough to make something happen. Apparently not. I'm going to wait for the rest of these offers to go through. I think we still have that offer out for Pagansky. I'm going to wait for those to go through before we spend the last $36K or so that we have. So thankfully we haven't lost anybody else, but we are down to just $45K to negotiate with. Let's see, though, if there's anybody else that we can bring into the squad on the forward side of things to really help out. Yeah, the answer is probably no. Although a lot of 3-star and 2.5-star players have been signed. Adam Brooks still isn't interested. It'll probably be worth going with 2-star players or maybe the low-end 2.5s to see what we can do. So Patrick Shea would be a great pickup if he's interested, and he is. He actually was doing fairly well in the NCAA, so I think, again, we'll continue to spread the wealth around a little bit. Bradley Kennedy has not done well as a professional player. Burgess did relatively well in the NCAA. Again, only looking for 10K. That wouldn't be that bad. And as far as, say, again, Jaden Lindo's been pretty bad. Right. I might wait because it might be worth bringing in another defenseman. So let's stick with those two for the moment. We are closing in 6 days away here from the beginning of the preseason. Again, I know the roster's going to change with whoever the hell the two teams above us decide to actually have on their roster for opening day. But overall, I'm feeling okay. So at the start of the preseason, this is what our roster looks like. It's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Currently, we have 3 goalies from the higher-up clubs on this roster, so the signing of Hayden Hockey, certainly not worth it. But again, it is going to change once teams above us have finalized their roster. That said, we have $45K to spend. I'm certainly going to look to bring in a defenseman here who can help things out and hopefully give us that little bit of extra depth. Now that, like, forward-wise, we look to be somewhat okay. So as far as who is available, Middleton is the top defenseman. He is not interested. I guess you'd rather sit at home. Lewington, we have the NCAA guys who I think are still not interested. Again, I guess they'd much rather sit at home and do nothing. It's fine by me. So for 2-star players, we have Will Warm, who had 57 points in 67 games in the W last year as an overager. And we actually have quite a few overagers coming out of junior that are now on the free agent list. I'm mainly looking to see Jack Akan, 19 points. How many 2-star guys are there? Quite a few appears to be the answer. Quite a few indeed. There has to be somebody, though, who has a very impressive point total, I would think. Hayden Davis had 35 points. Max Martin. Josh Thrower. Anybody? Anybody want to have a really solid point total? Nick Grima can play either. You know, let's go for this guy if he's willing to sign, because he's good to play either side. Wants 11K. I mean, to be honest, I'll probably sign at least 1 or 2 more people. Meet demand, please. Ask for a response. Oh, come on. I hate how... Okay, that is one of my biggest complaints about this game. Match offer, and then it undersells him a little bit, and then he gets pissed. So, it's like, oh, cool. A couple of extra button clicks for no reason, but that's all right. Is there anybody else here? Walter Flower, same thing, can play either side. Put up some points last year in the queue. Is it going to do the same thing? It is. Oh, my God. That's fine. A couple of extra button clicks never killed anybody, right? So there we go. We'll get that done and dusted. And let's see. Anybody else with an overly impressive point? Let's go for Ryan De Silva. And you'll be the last guy we send an offer to for now. I'm going to try to skip ahead to the start of the regular season so we can actually get a look at what this roster is going to be. But I wanted to keep you updated on the moves that we have been making. More signings inbound. Ryan De Silva, Nick Grima, and Walter Flower have all signed. I swear to God, Nick Schmaltz has asked to change his number to number 23 every day for the past 2 months. Maybe he will get the hint sooner rather than later. If not, I'm going to have to keep reassigning it, so that's going to be fun. But more signings on the board. Our depth chart looks a little bit better at this point, and if we go with an optimized team lineup, overall, it's looking okay, especially, too, if we take a look at the abilities. Again, still a very well-rounded team, although I wish we had more than one 3-star player at the top of the helm, at the helm there, leading the way. But I don't know. Now I can't help but think that the loss of Dmytro Timashov could be the death knell for this team this year, or at the very least resign us to essentially being the same type of team that we were, oh my God, that we were last year. Fine, you can have the number. Connor, I'm sorry, you can wear the number 93. Pretend you're Doug Gilmore or whoever. Yikes. Oh my God, we have captains already. We do. I know we do. Captain. Oh God. Oh, that's weird. It took away the captaincy from Schmaltz. I feel like Schmaltz might be glitched at this point. I'll keep you updated on that front. We have arrived the day before opening day, and this is what the squad is going to look like this season if we set up the best options here. It's not looking too bad, all things considered. We do have some extra forward depth if needed. We have some extra defensive depth as well, although right now the defense is being dragged down with us having to use Ellis or Elias Grand, I guess it would be with him being Swiss, and Mans Janssen. Unfortunately, Nick Grima and Walter Flower are not being used. We've been kind of left short-handed by the two clubs above us. No forwards currently on the roster, but 3 goaltenders, Halverson, Nell, and Carlson. That sucks. That sucks so badly, but the roster is still very well-rounded. Again, Grand and Janssen, though, very low-rated. Promising prospects, I'm sure, for the two teams above us, but it does suck a little bit. And again, only one 3-star player, that being Snugerud, on the roster. As far as the cap space or the money is concerned, I mean, right now, salary cap space, it's looking a little bit rough. We technically have 30 grand that we could spend to bring in somebody else, though, if we need to. I'm not going to do that right now because, I mean, let's be honest, we're pretty much good to go. But if we start running into trouble, that is when we could look to make changes. So this team's good to go. I know further changes will be made once, you know, players start getting sent down and everything. But I'm not as optimistic as I was hoping to be by the end of this episode, just because I don't feel like I could really implement that high spending strategy as much as I wanted to. And again, thanks to teams for taking Dimitro Timashov from me. Jerks. Season 3 will begin, if not be entirely simmed, in the next episode. It might be our last season, but I hope if it is, it's for a positive reason with us being successful. Time will tell, though, how the team does.